ended up going to Peru, studying with the mountain shamans over there, which was delightful. The way that I would explain sound healing, it's an alternative modality that reaches into not just the physical, it reaches into the mental, the emotional, and even the spiritual levels of your body. Science can explain sound healing through the idea that everything has its own vibration. Sound healing can improve insomnia, lower blood pressure, deal with chronic pain and inflammation, anxiety, panic attacks, and PTSD.
Welcome to the Collaborative Resource Hub by Wellness Provisions. We're bridging the gap between mental health, wellness, and rock and roll. I'm Amy McBride, owner of Wellness Provisions, the most badass wellness business. Hey, are you feeling a little stuck in life? I offer wellness coaching sessions. Book a session with me if you're seeking to get healthy and ahead. Sessions are available worldwide. And check this out. Wellness Provisions supplies rock and rollers with high-quality supplements. We've simplified your shopping experience and given you a trustworthy place to go where you can essentially shop blindfolded. And did you know all our Collaborative Resource Hub interviews air on YouTube as well as all major podcast platforms? Subscribe to stay in the loop. Go immerse yourself in the full Collaborative Resource Hub experience over on our website. You'll have access to helpful resources that will inspire and educate you. So let's inspire each other. If that guy did it, so can you. Last but not least, my legal disclaimer. Nothing in this interview or the Collaborative Resource Hub substitutes medical advice. Please connect with your GP if you need medical guidance.
Kat, thank you. I'm so excited for this bonus episode for the podcast. It's on sound healing, and thank you for setting everything up and making time to sit with me and share this awesomeness with everybody.
Well, thank you for inviting me. This is my favorite thing to do in life, is to share what I do in my own personal life. So I appreciate the fact that you have asked me to do this.
Yes. So for everybody, lovely people watching, so we're both in Wilmington, North Carolina, and I see you periodically when I have the available funds to do like shamanic energy sound healing sessions. So which are awesome and I love them. So that's how I know you. And will you kind of share, I guess, like your history and everything, you know, that you've studied, but in a nutshell.
Okay, because you better be prepared to be here for a week. I love talking about this. I would have to say that I was leading a very traditional life, married, children, a full-time job in education, high-level stress in all aspects of my life, totally driven, type A personality, not coping well with everything in my life. And as a result of that, I ended up with a very serious health crisis. And even though the medical profession was able to walk me through to improve some parts of my life, it brought me to my knees, and it brought me to a place where I knew I had to change dramatically.
Right.
My lifestyle, everything about it, how I thought, what I ate, how I lived each day. And so it brought me to a 4-wind school, and Alberto Violdo and many of my teachers that I had during the school. And it was about shamanic energy. And it wasn't anything that I thought I understood in my everyday life. So this is very unique to me. And I just kept going with it because I had decided whether I lived or died, I made a promise to my heart, to my soul, that I would do whatever it took to lead a healthier life. And so going through this transition, this school, and learning about shamanic practices, which are very ancient, hundreds, thousands of years practicing ancient ways. And it was enlightening in so many ways. I worked hard at letting go of old patterns, old beliefs. I decided that what have I got to lose?
Yeah.
If I've made this decision to heal, then I need to put the effort and action into it. So I ended up going to Peru, studying with the mountain shamans over there, which was delightful. The energy in the mountains and the shamans were just heart-filling, fulfilling. And then did some work in the jungle with the shamans doing medicine, ayahuasca. Very healing, very serious. It was not recreational in none of this. I took lightly. This was real serious work. And I have practiced shamanically ever since. And so through the years, just wanting curiosity, wanting to heal more, wanting to share more with people out in the real world, I've learned different modalities. I've learned to work with crystals, I've learned to work with shamanic journeying, and then I got the call through sitting in meditation, sound healing. And so I studied what is sound healing. And so of course in doing that, you want some of the tools that go with it. And that brought me to these beautiful bowls.
Yeah.
And so the way that I would explain sound healing, it's an alternative modality that reaches into not just the physical, it reaches into the mental, the emotional, and even the spiritual levels of your body. And the way that I like to explain it is because it includes science. It's not just energy work, which I love working in that. The shamans call it non-linear time and space, but science can explain sound healing through the idea that everything has its own vibration. Every particle, molecule, everything that exists in life is made up of energy.
Yeah, it's like a matter of how dense it is, or...
Yes.
Yeah.
Because even the brain and the organs in your body have a vibrational frequency, and they're all different. So when you're in really good health, physically, mentally, emotionally, all your vibrations are in alignment with what they're supposed to be. And the other part of the science is called resonance. So when there is a vibration that you come in contact with, if it's a higher vibration, science says that vibration that you carry will meet that. It's called entrainment.
Okay.
So there's the law of resonance, the law of entrainment, and those are physics. That's physics. That's not energy.
Yeah. So you're like, if a vibration in you is lower and you come in contact with a higher one, you're elevated.
You can come in contact with that. And so that's part of how the sound healing works.
Well, so I have a random question then. What happens when because I mean, this is a thing too, like you're hanging out with someone and like maybe they're really negative and they're complaining and it's like a lower frequency, a lower energy that they're at, and it drains you.
It does.
They didn't come up to meet you, they dragged you down to theirs.
Because it depends on the strength of the vibration. And it depends on your intention, your mental ability to hold your own vibration.
True.
Which is why they say if you want to be happy, you want to have a good, fulfilling life, then hang out with people who think like you and have that vibration of alignment. And then you're going to be staying at your own. If you spend a lot of time in what I would call negative vibration, it will bring you down. So I recommend to all of the people that I work with, and even in my own life, to try to stay positive. I have a mental capacity to hold my own frequency and stay at that beautiful level of a high vibration.
Yeah.
But even I can't always do that.
I was going to say it takes practice.
It
does awareness
take practice.
and commitment, you know.
And an intention that we live consciously.
Yeah.
For example, I'm out at the supermarket and I'm waiting in line and there's this person in front of me that's complaining and not happy with whatever,
Everything.
And so that vibration is going to come into my space, and what am I going to do? And so I have learned to be conscious about that and take a breath and focus my own vibrational energy and hold that space. And then what I do is I even try to say, I'm going to offer a beautiful thought to this person because I don't know what's going on in their life, and send that out and let it be whatever it's going to be. It may change that person's vibration if they're willing. Subconsciously, what will happen is their vibration will come up to mine. But I don't worry about that.
Yeah.
I just know I'm holding my own.
Yeah.
But because of everyday stresses and trauma, I will go out of alignment too, like we all do.
Yep.
So part of my practice is to sit with my bowls and practice the work that I can offer others.
Yeah. So how does sound healing, being in a sound bath, affect the body?
Okay. There are a couple of things that I feel are really important. One, we need to come fully into the present and be willing to surrender to whatever is going to take place and not try to have perceived thoughts about that. So that goes with intention, to open up, to receive. And then what happens is, as you go into a meditative state, the brain waves are going to start relaxing through meditation, through intention, and then the bowls, the way that they work, the way that I offer it, is these 7 crystal bowls work with what is called chakras. They're energy vortexes in your body, and each bowl has a frequency and a note that resonates with each one. So as you are in either laying down or sitting, and we do the meditation, we do the intention, you're ready to receive, the vibration will go in through those chakras and they will align your energy body, the vibration, up to what each chakra should be at.
Like tuned at.
And it will work on your parasympathetic nervous system, it'll work on your sympathetic. So that's your vagus nerve. That nerve goes from your brain all the way down through all of your organs. So it can also realign each one of your organs as well for the best vitality and health you can have.
So is sound healing then considered like a somatic healing?
It can be, yes.
Okay, because it would affect the body more so as opposed to the mind.
It can do
Right.
both.
Okay.
If you're in a meditative state, what happens is your brain waves will shift and you can go into a place of, I call it divine sleep. It's not really sleeping.
Yeah.
But what can happen then, it can change some of your thought patterns.
Right.
Here's an advert in less than 50 seconds. Are you sick and tired of feeling sick and tired? Do you want to feel better in your mind and body? Then check out the wellness coaching that I offer. It's kind of like therapy. You can share what's on your mind, and then it's all about taking action. You'll learn new tools to help you heal and grow through what's tripping you up. We can focus on anything from physical health to mental health. Schedule a free 15-minute consult over on the website to learn more. And check out our Healthy Touring course. This self-guided online video course is for any level of musician. Whether you tour all the time or only sometimes, you'll learn a ton if your goal is to play better, feel better, and be better. With special appearances by members of Descendants, Teenage Bottle Rocket, The Last Gang, Lawrence Arms, and more. Head over to the website for all the details. Now, back to the interview.
So sound healing can improve insomnia, lower blood pressure, deal with chronic pain and inflammation, and it's even known to work with anxiety, panic attacks, and PTSD.
Okay.
So it can affect the mind, body, emotions, and even if you go into that place of spirituality.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, it seems like because it affects, it goes, I mean, dealing with the chakras and just being energy, that it's affecting the body on like a cellular level. And, you know, the whole, I mean, it's not even a theory, it is what it is, but that like trauma and pain and that sort of, those memories are held in the body. So then, it can kind of like,
It can bring it into resonance, because when there is disease, whether it's mental or physical or emotional, that vibrational part of your body is going to be in dissonance. It's going to be in that lower vibration.
yeah,
So when you are willing to do this work of shifting that vibration, it does go into the cellular memory, and it does shift it and brings it up into its appropriate specific vibration, which is healing and wellness.
yeah. So then can it also, you know how people will do, gosh, I don't know, like yoga or meditation or something, and then all of a sudden they just start crying, but they don't necessarily know why. I mean, that can happen through this too. It's releasing stuff, and then you have to try and process it.
Yes, and I've had people break out in total laughter, and everyone around is going, "Well, it's so funny." I've also had people start to cry, because it shifts the emotions in such a way, more of a subconscious, deep level way, that it will bring up emotions. And I just say to people, allow it to release, because what's going to happen is you're going to come into the well-being of resonance, and that's what you're looking for.
Yeah.
And for me, what I say to people, it doesn't just you come and this happens and then you go back to your life.
That's my next question is, I guess, how often do you want to do something like this, or what does it require of self to like get the most out of it?
I would say, and this is what I've learned from my teachers, is that it's beautiful to receive this, and it does do some healing, but what happens is we need to change our thought processes. How do we live our life each day? We can't go back to sleep in the old ways, and I have learned this.
Yeah.
And this is why when I was in that state of my health crisis, I made the decision, I will do this work. I will live it. I won't just go get a massage or go get a healing from a shaman. I will change the way that I choose to live. And I live more awake and more aware. And I'm still a work in progress. I'm not saying I'm there.
No, I always tell people, this comes up in like every interview. I'm like, you're always on this journey. No one is perfect. You're always uncovering more that needs to be healed and worked on until you're dead. And even then, that's
depending what your beliefs are. And you know, I used to get upset with myself because I would do certain ways of healing and changing my life and thinking processes, and then I would be triggered by something. It would hold a charge for me, and I'd say, I'm 2 steps backwards. But what I realized, because I'm a different person, the way that I respond to it is different. And so it's like peeling layers of an onion. I'm going to the deeper levels of healing. And I have to say that in spite of all my health crises, people who know me are just in awe that I'm as vibrant and healthy as I am. And that's because of the work.
Yeah.
Not because I just went to somebody and they flipped the switch.
Right.
I have to work it in every day, every breath, every time I have a response to what triggers me in my life.
And I'm trying to think of where I read this or something, but you know, the idea that while doing healing on yourself, just like life journey stuff, that your initial response to something, a situation, doesn't mark your growth, because you can respond like your old pattern, but if you catch it, if you have the awareness and you're like, wait a minute, and then your second response shows your growth.
Absolutely.
You know, I mean, and I'm sure everyone's different. At some point over time, that second response will become the first response, but in this, what could be years of, you know, like transition,
work.
You know, but like, because that happens to me, it's like I'll respond and I'll get angry because in the past I've had a very short fuse and anger issues and temper and stuff. And so that's something that I'm working on, and I'm a lot better than I've been. But like, I'll catch it now, and am able to respond differently.
And that is true. It's the reaction. How do you respond? And when I say I'm awake, it's because I pay attention. If I've had an interaction out in the world and I can feel it, I have that kind of anger or frustration or displeasure with something, I'm awake. I catch it and I say to myself, okay, I feel the charge that it holds for me. So what is going to be my response? If I shift that into a different response than I used to have, my memory, my emotional body, and my cellular memory is going to recognize that. And it's like taking the training wheels off a bike. You have to practice.
Yeah.
And so some days I do it well. Some days I'm not so happy with myself in the response, but tomorrow is a new day.
Yeah.
And I say to myself, I'm going to be aware. And another thing I do in that reaction is, where do I hold it in my body?
Yeah.
Is it in my throat? Is it in my heart? Is it in my stomach? Because if I can recognize where I'm holding that tension, I can work with it. I can set up my goals, and depending on where it sits in my body, I'll work specifically with that goal.
Yeah.
So if I've had an experience where I wasn't able to speak my own truth, I'll work with the bowl that works with that throat chakra, and I'll focus on it, and I'll allow that cellular vibration to go into my energetic body, and then it goes in and it shifts the cellular vibration.
Yeah. So cool.
It is. It's very cool. I'm much happier in this part of my lifetime than I was in the old way.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm curious, because like I've been curious, and obviously people listening or whatever, is not everyone can have this experience like in person.
Right.
So, if you can, because I have linked this in so many interviews, and I give this to my coaching clients that I work with, but it's 7 minutes. It's a 7-minute singing bowl track. Each minute corresponds with a bowl and a chakra, but it's on Spotify, but it's digital. So can the body perceive or receive, the healing frequencies, digital versus, in person?
Yes, and I can tell you my preference, because I'm a people person and I like being in the energy present time of someone. But one of the things that helped me understand accepting it digitally is the concept of vibration and the intention.
Yeah.
So if I'm sitting with that musical digital meditation, if I can allow my mind to stay fully present, have the proper intention of surrender and receive, then I can receive it in just the way that you would with a live performance. And what helped me with that was understanding with the pandemic and COVID, when we couldn't be out in the world.
Yeah.
And I was a little frustrated at the beginning. Is this going to work for me? Is it going to work doing Zooms with people? And I'm not from this digital generation.
Yeah.
So my resistance to it was pretty big.
Yeah,
and
I don't prefer it. I guess I'm from that generation or something, but it's not my preference either. It seems weird. But.
No, and so understanding the science of how this works, of course, it can be just as successful in remote and digital. Yes.
So a lot of people that listen deal with anxiety, and some people I know have panic attacks. So if someone feels that creeping in, could they maybe listen to the 7-minute Spotify track that I have, or what's a way that or is it just like a nightly practice or something? What helps to mellow out the anxiety stuff?
because I encompass so many modalities and so many things in life that bring me joy and bring me wellness, that and yoga practice is one of the things that has brought me wellness. So in yoga, what is it? It's breath work.
Yeah.
So if I feel I've had a stressful day, one of the things that I work with is my breath.
Okay.
And coming back into breath. And with that breath work, it shifts in my mind. I have an intention. I will surrender this stress. It's lowering my vibration. So I'm going to practice, I am grateful. Gratitude is one of the best things that can bring your vibration up. So I am grateful for everything that I have in this stressful day. I'll surrender to it all. I'm going to do some breathing. And for me, because I have my bowls, I can work with my bowls. For someone who is having a panic attack, and this does not replace medical intervention.
Yeah.
I often tell my clients, please make sure if you're on medication or if you're receiving medical treatment, this does not replace that.
Yeah.
This is in addition.
It's a nice compliment.
It is,
Yeah.
very much.
To fill in the gaps.
Yes. So does that answer what you were looking for?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, so I think if someone's like out, at a store and just feels like anxiety just kind of like washing over them, then they could, focus on their breath, at least to start with. Pop in some headphones if they can, just something like that.
At the beginning of my healing, I was still a full-time career job in public education, which if anyone knows anything about it, it's extremely stressful. And whenever I could take a break, I would go in the bathroom, close the door, look at myself in the mirror and say, I've got 30 seconds. How do I want to use my time? And I would do the slow, deep breath, and I would say to myself, I am okay.
Mm-hmm.
And that fight or flight response from our limbic brain, which happens when you're under stress or any kind of panic attack, it would calm it down. It wouldn't make it go away. And then the idea of making sure I'm practicing what works for me. And so for some people it's meditation, some it's prayer, some it's going for a walk outdoors, physical exercise, yoga, anything that works for you.
Yeah.
Use it and say, I'm so grateful that I have this in my life. It brings me to health and wellness, and most importantly, joy.
Yeah.
We must remember, the shamans on the mountain, we were doing some heavy healing, and they would be sitting over on the side just joking and laughing, and we'd be like, this is hard work,
Yeah.
I'm crying and I'm healing, and why are they laughing? And so because they speak Karo, which is a different language, and none of us understood Karo, they would say, lighten up. Bring some joy into your life. Bring some joy into your healing. And the best way to do, I've learned that, is gratitude. I am so grateful for all I do have. And it will bring a tiny little smile while the tears are coming down. So that's how I do it anyways.
Yeah, I dig it. So you also mentioned before when you were studying all of the shamanic traditions, ayahuasca, and I know that is a thing, very much that people are interested in. So what's your 2 cents on it?
Okay, here is my take.
Okay.
And this is my personal, because of my experience. I know it's a thing nowadays, and it's very powerful medicine. But the important thing is, in my opinion, is you do it with a proper intention. You do it in the proper situation with someone who's properly trained.
Mm-hmm.
And so, because I was in the actual Peruvian jungle with the shamans who generations have been practicing shamans, they're master shamans.
Yeah.
And they have their specialty. I was in a very safe place. And we had to do some work before. We had to be careful with our diet. It was very restrictive. We had to tune out the outside world for digital stuff. And so we prepared ourselves mentally and physically and emotionally, and we were in a safe place. And I would recommend, if anyone felt the calling to do it, that they would be, first of all, preparing themselves, making sure they had someone who is properly trained with the different varieties, because there's different intentions. Each shaman has their own, what we call brew. So you want to make sure you have someone who knows what they're doing in a very safe situation. And not everyone should be doing it. I experienced it. I am grateful for the medicine. And she helped me heal. And she stays with me always, forever now. But my personal experiences, I don't need to go and do it again. I have other methods and ways that I can work with my own healing.
Okay.
So that's my take.
Yeah, because I mean, it's supposed to be, I mean, I don't know a ton about it, but I know that everyone says, you know, I mean, I guess it's kind of similar to like psilocybin and
Yes,
DMT and all that, where it's just like you're being open to, you know, the universe, your higher self, and you're getting messages that help you heal.
Yes. And that's why I say it's a very powerful medicine, and you want to be prepared and you want to be in a safe place, because people can have different reactions to it, both mentally, emotionally, and physically. And I can tell you, it's not always pleasant.
Yeah, I know. There's like the throw-up buckets and stuff too, right?
Oh, there's more. I won't go into detail, but it's not pleasant. And that's probably one of the reasons why I wouldn't want to do it again. But I really appreciate the healing that it can offer. And if you're called to do it, if you really feel, then do your research and find someone who is able to do it in a very sacred way.
Yeah.
This was definitely not, I mean, I'm a child of the 60s, so let's just leave it at that. But this was very, very sacred. It was done in a way that was really safe for me and very healing.
Okay. Do you want to do a sound bath demonstration for us?
I would love to. It's one of my favorite things to offer.
You're like, no, I just brought the bowls out for show.
Just quickly, these 7 bowls are really beautiful. They're tuned to each chakra, each frequency, and they are pure crystallized quartz. I also have with me today my Himalayan bowls, which are very different. They have an overtone of a frequency. So when you hear them rung, it's not one specific note. It'll start out that way, and then you'll hear overtones. So I have 3 Himalayan bowls that I have brought with me, and my 7 chakra bowls.
And we have a glass of water.
Oh, yes. And one other thing I love to share is, of course, we can charge not only our bodies, but I always bring a glass of water with me, and I keep it with my bowls, and it can be charged with the vibration that I'm bringing in with the intention. And I also do it with my crystals.
Yeah.
So it's something that I'd like to share with you today. So we'll charge the water, and then you can have the opportunity at the end to drink it if you choose.
Yeah, and also about the water too, because like I can't remember the title, but there's that book on
Emoto, the Japanese scientist. He did many experiments with water.
Yeah.
And he was the one who helped me understand how I can shift the vibration of water.
Yeah, because I mean, again, like science, it's a real thing.
It's a real thing.
You can see the structure of the water change.
He has done, and many people after him have done scientific experiments.
Yeah.
On even putting like the intention of hate and the intention of love, and then seeing how the structure of the water shifts.
Yeah, that reminds me, I don't know if it's the same person or not, but the rice experiment, and I mean that's been, you know, gone on to be done by other people to be mimicked as well or whatever, but like there were 3 jars of rice, and one the person ignored, they just didn't pay any mind to that rice. The second rice they said nice kind things to, and then the third rice they yelled at and just put hate towards, and like there was a massive amount of mold, I think it was mold in the hate one,
yes.
And then the one that was ignored wasn't super great either, but then the one that was shown love was like healthy looking rice.
That goes back to the vibration and the entrainment. So when you have a lower frequency emotion such as anger and hate, it's very dense, it's very low. And then you have joy and gratitude and love, and it's a higher vibration. So when you work with that higher vibration with something like water, it can bring that vibration up to joy and love and laughter. And this is why, this is kind of an aside here, but when I cook, I put the intention of nourishment and love into whatever I'm preparing, as opposed to I'm tired and I gotta make this meal and my day was horrible, and so I've got the emotion of stress and unhappiness going into my food.
Yeah.
So I don't do that. And this is part of, I've learned through the Native American indigenous cultures and the shamans, is to put love into everything we say and do, and that includes my food. And
yeah.
I'm telling you, it has a different flavor when I cook with joy.
Oh my God. Because like, my mentor coach guy that I work with, one of our last sessions, like a kind of a check-in session, you know, he reminded me, he's like, bless everything, you know, everything. Like, I'm just, in a passing moment, like, I'm just so thankful for my healthy aloe plant, you know, whatever. And, yeah, so it's the same, just the more love you can put out and feel, better.
Well, again, being a child of the 60s, I mean, our intention was that. We just didn't do it in a way that was really of the right vibrational frequency. But that's the science of whatever I do, whether I'm working with my bowls or my crystals or my drum. It's the science. Everything has energy, every particle. And so if you bring in that vibration of love and joy and gratitude, it's going to make the world a better place.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm choosing to live by.
Yes. On that note, let's do a demonstration.
So whenever I do a sound bath, whether it's with one person or a group of people, it's always important to come into the present moment in time. And the best way to do that, I feel, is through bringing ourselves in with breath. So I often say to people where I invite you to close your eyes and come into the present moment and do some relaxation, breathing, and making sure we're grounded in our bodies. And I ask them to think of an intention that they want to bring during this healing. So let me just show you how that goes. So I'll do it with you, Amy. So Amy, I invite you to close your eyes and just take some deep breaths, slow, deep breaths, bringing yourself into the present moment in time, allowing whatever came before to just release, knowing you are fully held by Mother Earth. You are safe. And as you breathe, begin to think of an intention for your own well-being. And now breathe that into your heart. And allow that intention to gradually go through each and every body part, into each and every cell. And we begin.